TitleMatchNetwork.com.
What did you enjoy most about the business after a year or so in, and what did you not like the most about the business after you were in about a year?
Well, boy, it's a long time ago. I enjoyed the travel. When I broke in at the time, there was still the places that you went, you just stayed in one area. Like I started in Florida, and I loved it down there, the weather and everything.
Right.
And then you're taking the trips and you're wrestling, in front of these people, and gosh, it's all great and new. And what I didn't like about the business, I don't think there was anything I didn't like about the business. When I first started, of course, we didn't make hardly any money, but I didn't know any better, so that really wasn't a downer.
Right.
I never made any money anyway, so it didn't really matter. But no, I loved everything about it.
The first territory that you worked would have been Florida for Eddie Graham?
Yeah.
Who were some of the guys that you worked with in the locker room at the time?
My first match was with George McCreary, but Dusty Rhodes was down there at the time, Jack Briscoe, my dad, Eddie Graham, of course. Matsuda, I think, still wrestled some. Yeah, he did. World Junior Heavyweight Champion, I think, at that time. Now, that might have been a little bit after him, but I think he was probably world champion about that time, too. Steve Kern, Bob Roop. A lot of great names. Bobby Duncombe, Blackjack Mulligan. There are a lot of guys around, and they run their prime, most of them fellas, too. They're a little bit older than me, maybe 8-10 years.
Any good memories stick out from the Florida territory?
When I became Florida champion, that was a great time because, it's where you start and you make it to the top. I had left and gone to Georgia for 3 years.
Right.
When I went back down to Florida, I won that title. And that was probably the most uplifting thing for me to do is where you grew up and you started. I grew up down there also. My dad was there a lot of years when I was younger. And to come start at the bottom, literally the bottom, and work yourself up, it's a great feeling.
Did your dad give you a lot of advice at the time at all? Or?
Well, when Dad saw that I was going to stick with it, yes, he did. Discouraging before that, he tried to discourage me and get me to quit, but there's no quit there. So he finally came around.
Did something your dad ever have done, like maybe negative, ever affect you? With a promoter or anything like that?
Oh no, I don't think so.
Now, also, you also worked the Alabama territory, I believe, right?
I've done shots down there, but I never actually worked their territory, no.
Question would be how you got started in the wrestling business, and I know your father was a great wrestler.
Well, my dad wrestled pro, and I was going to Mizzou, and I met a young lady, and I married her, and so Dad wasn't going to still put the money into the college, so the only thing I knew how to do was wrestle. I wrestled from the time I was 9 years old, and so I turned to a pro wrestler. But I wasn't quite large enough at the time, so I refereed for maybe 5 or 6 months, and then I got a little size, and the rest is history.
Were you a wrestling fan growing up?
Oh yeah, I went to the matches all the time with my dad. He took me a lot, and I watched it all the time. I was really into the wrestling.
How close did you follow your father's career growing up?
Pretty close. Like I say, I was there all the time. I saw him wrestle the greats in his time, Cowboy Bob Ellis, Eddie Graham, Sam Steamboat, Luthez many times.
How close did he let you get to the business?
He took me a lot. I went right back to the dressing room, met all the guys and everything. So I was what's the right word?
Exposed to the business early on?
Yeah, exposed at an early age.
When did you know you wanted to actually wrestle? At like what age?
Oh, I probably wanted to wrestle more when I was really young, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And then maybe I got into other things, girls and sports and that sort of thing. But I had wrestled all those years. And again, when I met my wife and we got married, then it was time for me to get a job. And like I say, the only thing I knew was wrestling. And that's what I turned to.
Did your father encourage you, or did he try to talk you out of it?
No, he wanted me to be a doctor.
What was the training like when you first got into the business?
Not like it is today. Hiro Matsuda, I don't know if you know that gentleman or not, but he was my coach. And it was more of a one-on-one thing for maybe 4 or 5 months. And then I started, like I said, I had to gain some weight. I was a little small at the time. And while I was with Hiro, I gained the weight and refereed to make ends meet. And then when I got to size, I started wrestling. But back to your question, probably from the time I was little, although I did have that phase where it lapsed for a while, but that's always what I wanted to do.
Do you have any advice you'd like to give young wrestlers trying to break into the business?
Oh, shit. I just, someone come up to me, it's a hard work. It's not a lot of people think this is easy, but it's a very, very hard job. And you've got a lot of different ways, to go and do. You got so many things to learn. You've got to be a psychologist. You've got to be a great athlete. You've got to know how to handle your money. I mean, there's a lot of things involved. The travel is not for everybody. You're getting on a plane. Just coming here today. I haven't flown for a while. But just coming here today, I used to get to the airport. If my plane was at 6 o'clock, I was at the airport at 5:50.
Right.
And ran down the hall and boom, got on the plane right before they closed the door. But that's just the way I did things. Now, if I do that, and they'd leave me in St. Louis, no way I'd get on a plane. But, times have changed. Everything changes. So right now, if I had to give somebody advice as getting ready to get in, you better be ready for a hard job, and a lot of hard work.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.